Support.
The maestro, please!
Now this is what I'm talking about. April did not disappoint. A slew of new albums to talk about this week. This'll be for the week of
April 10th. 2021.
On this day in music back in 2012, The Lion King, the musical that is, became the highest grossing musical of all time, a record which it continues to hold today, as it has now achieved over $8.2 billion in gross revenue. This is certainly an eclectic collaboration, electronic artist Floating Points, along with jazz saxophonist Pharaoh Sanders, and of course, the London Symphony Orchestra, an interesting fusion of jazz, electronic, and classical music.
Don't mean a thing if it ain't got that swing.
So very hard to go. All I love is so very hard to go.
Celebrating the 50th anniversary of Tower of Power, originally founded back in 1968. Given this concert was recorded back in 2018, so now they're 53 years old, but still.
Singing.
I love rock and roll.
Following up 2017's Synthesis, we have studio album number 5 from Evanescence, The Bitter Truth. It is an album that sounds like old Evanescence, but still fresh in the year of 2021.
Come hang, let's go out with some bang.
Studio album number 4 from the Met Brothers, Adam, Jack, and Ryan, and yes, that's how they get AJR, and it has their most successful single, which you just heard, Bang, getting up to number 8 on the Hot 100.
It's bigger than hip-hop, hip-hop.
I know I say this shit all the time, but this time I promise. Yeah, we still on dumb shit, the dumbest and the dumbest.
I guess young Dolph and Glock had such a good time with Dumb and Dumber, they decided to make a sequel album to it, and oddly enough, it charted at the exact same place that the previous one did on the Billboard 200.
Come out the clouds like a meteor rock, then land on the earth like ready or not. Ain't no one like me to cream me to crop. Don't even front it and give me some.
The very first mixtape by NF, and after 2 EPs and 5 studio albums. Typically we see mixtapes before the studio albums, but hey, it charted, so it's clearly working.
Bring my soul flies. Bring my soul flies. Bring my soul.
Fun fact about this album, originally there were not supposed to be any features on this, but Rod Wave ended up meeting Polo G at a jewelry store in which Polo G said he's a huge fan of his work, which I guess made him reconsider, as now Polo G is the only feature on this album. Even with all these new things to talk about, still nothing to talk about here.
And now I need some help from the maestro, please!
I think I'm gonna stay right here tonight, cause I could be dangerous. Cause I could be dangerous.
Well, I guess we'll see if this is here next week.
Then sings my soul, my Savior God.
Following up her Christmas album, Carrie Underwood's first gospel album, and I know this was released at the end of March, but it charted right around Easter, so it seems like we just went from a Christmas album to, I guess, an Easter album.
Come out the clouds like a meteor rock, then land on the earth like ready or not. Ain't no one like me to cream me to crop. Don't even front it and give me some.
I tend to like a number of NF tracks, but at the same time, I am a huge sucker for the cinematic orchestral type beats he uses.
I got my peaches out in Georgia. Oh yeah, shit. I get my weed from California. That's that shit. I took my chick up to the north.
Some critics have raised their eyebrows at this album, mostly because Justin Bieber has used some Martin Luther King Jr. speeches in this album, and while Martin Luther King Jr. very much aligns with the concept of justice, when looking at Justin Bieber's lyrical content, you kind of pause and go, I don't exactly see how some of these line up with the concept of societal justice.
Bring my soul flies. Bring my soul flies. Bring my soul.
Pray for Love got to number 2, and now SoulFly at number 1, Rod Wave's first number 1 album. Plenty of stuff to listen to this week. Let's see if April just keeps it coming. Maybe a new EDM album.
And now I need some help from the maestro, please! Maestro!